Hi, Olivia. This is your spiritual gardener, Jamie, and I just wanted to thank you. I know that you are friends with Michelle, and you got to look over her reading with me, and I'm going to be going over all of the different aspects of your chart now. And I want to start by saying, there are the three main pillars in astrology, and those three main pillars are our rising sign, which goes off of your birth time specifically, the sun sign, and the moon sign. Okay, I'm obviously going to go over every aspect of the chart, but those are the three big components. And the reason being is, your sun sign is an expression of your soul, and that's, for the most part, what most people get to see. Just like the sun, it's very bright and you can't really go without noticing it. Now, the moon sign is a representation of your emotions. So this is how our emotions work, and a lot of times people don't really get to see that side of a person, maybe not so much until they really get to know that person. Now, the other one is the rising sign, and that's what sets up your entire chart with your placements. And the rising sign is the persona that other people view you as, and it's really like the first impression people get to know you as. A lot of astrologers like to say it's like the mask that you wear. It's definitely a big part of your personality as well, but it's more so, people that don't really know you, they mostly get to see this side of you compared to your other aspects in your birth chart, okay? So your rising sign is in Cancer. So you are rising Cancer, and Cancer represents the mother in astrology. And it's ruled by the moon. Like I was saying, it rules the emotions. And the moon is not a planet. The moon and the sun, those are both luminaries. So they have a big thing to play in astrology. And, this is also what Cancer represents. Ruling the moon is our emotions. Now, being that your rising sign is Cancer, this is the side of you that others get to see the most. Okay? And Cancer risings are like the mother of the zodiac. And because of this, others can see you as very motherly in groups. Maybe with your friend groups, you kind of are the one that they turn to when they need things or have questions and such. Or you're the one that they kind of rely on to help them with their emotions. Also, anybody with a Cancer rising sign is very sympathetic. And, like I was saying, others may come to you for help. And this is because it is ruled by the moon, and the moon rules our emotions. So it gives you, very sympathetic traits with others, and because of that, it can seem kind of motherly. Now, Cancers display very strong emotions. It's one of the water signs, and the water signs are the most emotional of the zodiac. So they display a lot, emotions of compassion, and, they can also get their feelings hurt easily, though, because they're known for having emotions. So another thing about them is, they're known to love animals. That's a big thing, is Cancers love animals. And they are, constantly working to make other people happy. But the thing is, you must first care about yourself is the most important thing, because if you're not taking care of your own needs, then you can't really pour from an empty cup, if that makes sense. And if this is the case, if others are just constantly coming for you for their emotional needs and whatnot, this can make you emotional and pretty unhappy. So that is the flip side of Cancer, is if they're not putting themselves first and they're just kind of giving with their emotions, then you can end up in a spot to where you're totally turned off by other people, and they can see you maybe more as like a moody person. So this is, like I was saying, the impression that other people get to see of you, the first impression. But it is a lovely sign, because Cancer, like I said, is the mother of the zodiac. It's the most loving sign in the whole zodiac. So, when people get to know a Cancer rising, it's very harmonious. They're very attracted to that person because, they can share sympathy with them. So you might find this being like a common thing that you run into. Now, because Cancer rules your chart, I next want to go and look at the moon, because the moon then is the ruler of your chart, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. Now, your moon is in Aquarius. And Aquarius is for you in the 9th house, and the 9th house represents higher knowledge and travel. And you know, this house is also known for being like the guru or the teacher. And you know, Aquarius is not the most emotional sign. It's a sign more so of intellect. And Aquarius is known in astrology though for being the genius. So it's, you know, we're in the age of Aquarius now, and that's why everything's a lot more technologically advanced. And they're known for being the genius. And having your moon in Pisces can very well make you, especially in the 9th house, very focused on, you know, intellect and higher learning and things such as that. And, you know, the reason that Aquarius is considered not so emotional is because the opposite sign is Leo, and Leo is ruled by the heart, and Leo is a very emotional sign. So opposite signs, you know, they have to have opposite traits. And a lot of people, you know, they get a bad rap with Aquarius because they don't seem emotional. They can come off as like cold, some people try to say. But they are the biggest humanitarians in the whole entire zodiac, okay? And, you know, a lot of people confuse them with a water sign because it is an image of a water bearer, a person bearing water, but it's actually an air sign. So, like I was saying with Cancer being a water sign, it's more emotional. Think of tears. And when you think of air signs, it's more so being that your moon's in an air sign. It's like you're grasping for thoughts. Thoughts are the main ruler of any air sign. It's more about intellect more so than emotions. And Aquarius is the water bearer. And you know, if there's a line of people with a glass out for water, they go by and they pour a glass for every single person. And you know, if you got this person back here that's like, hey, wait, I just finished my glass of water, can I get some more? It's kind of like, no, I have to continue helping everybody. So this is kind of why they get that, you know, trait of being cold, you know, some say. But I was raised by Aquarius, and I have an Aquarius Venus sign, which is my love sign. So I can understand this 100%. And they're not cold people. It just comes off that way because they are such, you know, of a genius mind that they don't have the capacity for really feeling emotions as deeply because there's so much capacity for learning and for higher knowledge. So they get a bad rap sometimes, and it's not that easy, being the fact that you have, you know, your rising sign is this emotional sign from what other people see. And then I'll get to your sun sign, but your sun sign is also ruled by Venus, which is a very loving sign as well. So this can kind of probably confuse you a little bit, or confuse other people as to understanding, okay, well, you know, you come off as this very emotional person, but then again, it's not like emotional, mushy-gushy type of emotions, okay? Aquarius moons are just much more known for craving intellectual conversations than having conversations about someone's emotions. And like I said, I totally get this because I have my Venus sign, my love sign in Aquarius, and with my partners, I'm not that much of a like mushy-gushy romantic type of person. I'm more so need to have an intellectual connection with that person if it's ever going to go anywhere. So I get this. Some people can, you know, like I said, make it seem like it's a cold position for your moon to be in. But this is just how your emotions work. So if you've ever had the feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not that emotional, like I'm a bad person for this, or yada yada, that's not the case. Your brain has so much capacity for intellect rather than using it for overbearing emotions, which I think is amazing. But some people just don't understand it, and that's why I'm going to tell you people that are better fitting for you, of course. Now, being that the moon's in your 9th house, and like I said, the 9th house does rule higher knowledge, this will make you a lot more so interested in like philosophies, metaphysics, and all of the mysteries of life. And this kind of almost like amps up the genius in your mind, okay? Because the 9th house, like I said, is the representation of the guru. And then having your moon here on top of that, and the moon that's already a genius, this makes you very much interested in facts and learning, and it's a great position for the moon to be in my opinion. Now, the ninth house also rules travel, and more so travel to far places. So you can be very fond of traveling. You might even have your heart set out on living somewhere far away. Like, this doesn't really seem like your home, maybe. Maybe you have plans in the future to move far. It's definitely got to be hard with this whole COVID thing going on because we can't really go far right now. But, you know, you definitely have that craving to experience other cultures and to kind of diversify yourself. And like I was saying, Aquarius moons are very much humanitarian. So it's not so much that, even though you're not maybe that emotional, you do care very much about everybody, including animals. This is a big trait for Aquarius moons. So like I was saying too, because your rising sign is an emotional sign, and your sun sign in Libra is ruled by Venus, which I'll get to, which also comes off as very much, you know, a need for love and craving for love and emotions at the same time. Like I was saying, it can be kind of contradictory for you. And, you know, because you are an emotional person, but it's just hard to express your emotions. So that's the part where Aquarius is kind of have an odd spot. I know for me, with my Venus in Aquarius, it can almost feel like, you know, if I'm trying to express myself on like this romantic level or mushy gushy, even hearing myself, I'm like, oh God, like, ugh, like it just kind of gives me that like cringe factor. So I completely can correlate with this type of energy 100%. And like I was saying, there's nothing wrong with this. You know, this is just the power of the moon ruling over your emotions and being in Aquarius. And, you know, it's just not that much of an emotional sign. And, you know, although they are extreme humanitarians and they care very much for everybody and people and animals and everything, it's like their capacity goes so far to care for everyone and everything that when it comes to their own emotions, it's kind of like a block off. And it's a good thing it is, though, because can you imagine just having so much care for everyone and animals and everything, and then also for yourself, I mean, and your emotions? That would be completely overwhelming. So it actually kind of helps in a sense, because if that were the case, it would just be a big ball of emotions, and that's more difficult to deal with than being able to kind of tone that out sometimes. Now, your moon, though, it does make a hard aspect to Pluto, okay? And this is what we call a square in astrology, and squares tend to box things. So, you know, it's energy we can work through, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult. And, you know, Pluto represents death and rebirth to things. And not meaning anything is going to die or anything, but it changes things up and brings new factors in. So your moon making a hard aspect to Pluto, it can create intense emotions that you have a hard time dealing with and a hard time expressing. So this can create a little bit of a roadblock in that area. You can find yourself possibly even caught up in drama that you want nothing to do with. And one thing you can do, though, is you can help direct this energy into creative pursuits. Like studying, anything mystical, you know, anything that interests you in those avenues, because, you know, it's kind of hard to get stuck up in drama when your soul has no interest in being there. It's like Pluto creates that for you in a sense and can make you emotional and intensify that, but Aquarius moons with emotions, it's kind of like foreign to them. So this is definitely a little bit of a harder placement for you. And any artistic activities too are also really, really good for you. You'll do really great with anything that has to do with art, music, drawing, writing, anything artistic. And especially because you're a Libra sun, and Libra rules beauty and the arts, which I'll get to, of course. Now, you also have it's a place in the sky that we like to call the part of fortune, and it means that exactly, fortune. So you have this also in your 9th house, which is amazing, okay? And this represents good luck. So in astrology, wherever you have your part of fortune, it's an area of good luck for you. So you have it here in your 9th house, and that can give you great luck with being a teacher. You know, teaching, anything dealing with traveling, you'll have great success with. You can almost find yourself going to far places, and it's like everything just kind of works in your favor without you even trying. So anytime you travel far distance, you're going to have a great time, great luck in that area. So that's definitely a good plus. And also anything spiritual. If you were to pursue anything spiritual, you'd have a lot of great luck with, because like I said, the 9th house is the guru as well as the teacher. So anything that is on a spiritual level, you can definitely see yourself catapulting with. Now, also anything, like I was saying, humanitarian. So anything with helping people in general. So definitely, you know, teaching, helping others, any type of avenue of that is going to bring you great, great, great fortune. Now back to your first house. In your first house of Cancer, that's where your rising sign is. You have the South Node here, okay? And the South Node represents things that we need to not focus so much on this life. And, you know, it fully activates after your 30th birthday. We start to change, you know, the way that we do things in this area. But being that it's in your first house, the first house represents yourself and how others see you. So this is an area that we become, you know, almost professional at in this lifetime. So being in your first house, you know, you're very aware of who you are. And, you know, sometimes if people get lost in this area, because it is your South Node, it's things you want to get away from. Like I said, it doesn't activate till you're 30 fully, and then you kind of switch it up. But it can create, you know, possibly putting yourself before others a lot. That can only be that's really the main downfall with it here. But your North Node, because we have a South Node and a North Node, okay? So your North Node is your compass and your direction of where you are supposed to be going this lifetime. So I want you to, you know, get away from so much as, you know, focusing on yourself in some avenues, and it wants you to be directed towards the 7th house in astrology, because that's the opposite sign. And the 7th house in astrology rules marriage and partnerships. So your ultimate goal this life is, you know, it will be focused on finding, you know, the perfect partner for you. And I'm going to get back to this when I get to this house. But definitely relationships and finding that person are going to be the main goal for you. And this does tend to be the more difficult aspect, because following our North Node is hard, because we're so used to living in our South Node all the way up until 30. So it does become hard to find for you that perfect partner in that sense, because we're not really used to dealing with this energy. It's energy that we need to progress towards. But like I said, after the 30th birthday, it just kind of magically clicks in some odd ways. So it's definitely coming for you. And I'm going to get back to the 7th house here in a minute. Now, in your 2nd house, okay, your 2nd house rules money, and it also rules your self-worth. And you have Chiron here, okay? And Chiron represents the wounded healer in astrology. And we all have this somewhere else in our charts, so everybody has some type of wound that they're dealing with. And, you know, it typically goes on in our younger years. So it's normally, as we're growing up until maybe about like 18 is when it's kind of done with. But it is the wounded healer, so there's always that wound there. Even though it might be healed, it's still felt in some type of way. Or it was more so felt as you were younger growing up. Now, being in your 2nd house of money and self-value, it can indicate a few things. And it might be possible that you didn't grow up with a lot of money. And, you know, I grew up very poor. I don't have Chiron in my 2nd house. This just happens to be one of my traits too. But I definitely grew up very poor with my grandmother. And, you know, just because Chiron's here, this could be a possibility for you. If this was the case, you could have also developed some self-confidence issues because of this. And you may have been possibly a bit shy growing up is kind of what I see. And, you know, my Chiron's not even in the second house, and I definitely experienced this myself, so I can 100% relate with this energy. You know, I was very embarrassed because I was raised by my grandma. We were very poor, and that definitely created some self-confidence issues for myself. But that's my chart, you know what I mean? I feel like there were possibly, you know, kids at school that maybe you didn't get along with, you know, could have caused some insecurities. Or, you know, maybe you were like a late bloomer and you didn't really, you know, build that confidence and feel confidence in how you looked up until maybe a little bit later in life. So this is kind of what I'm seeing with Chiron here in the second house. There may also possibly be the chance that your mother passed away when you were younger. Since your moon is ruled, you know, by the mother, and for everyone in astrology, and it does make hard aspects to your Pluto, which I said represents death and rebirth. You know, I kind of see this as maybe being a possibility for you. You might have had a mother that passed away when you were a little bit younger, and this does affect your fifth house of childhood as well, and then it correlates back to your second house. So I kind of see that might also be a possibility for you. And that would definitely add to some woundedness. You know, it's definitely not easy growing up without a mother. My mother passed away on my 13th birthday, actually. And this is where my Chiron is. My Chiron's exactly on my moon, representing the mother. And yours isn't right on the moon, but, you know, I'm going to give you everything that I see. So I do see it making hard aspects along this area, though. So that could be another possibility. And, you know, if so, I'm extremely sorry. I know how this energy feels, and it's one of the toughest things to have to deal with is growing up without a mother. Or, you know, it could have even just been the possibility that she was not around. So that's just something that the chart's showing as well. So there are quite a few possibilities around that area. Now, moving into your third house. Your third house rules communication, and it also rules our siblings. And you have Venus here, and Venus is the planet of love, and you also have Jupiter here, and Jupiter represents good luck. It rules abundance, and they're in the sign of Virgo, which is a sign that's all about, you know, facts and completing tasks. And, you know, this shows that you definitely love to conversate with people because it's in your house of communication, and Venus rules other people as well as love. And you can actually be very lucky in situations where you do so because you have Jupiter here. So Jupiter brings good luck anytime you're communicating with other people. If you're kind of putting yourself out there, these are always good luck, you know, opportunities for you when you use your communication skills. Now, because you have your Venus sign here in the house of communication, this does show that you want a partner that can keep up with conversating with you. So you need someone that can kind of keep you on your toes. And because you have that Aquarius moon in the 9th house of learning, and, you know, you're constantly learning things and downloading information and trying to explore different avenues, you need someone that's similar like that can communicate with you on the same level. Also someone that, you know, you can share your adventures with and your philosophies with life about. So, you know, this conjunction also can make you a very popular person with different friends, because especially Jupiter's there bringing abundance to it. And because the third house is also ruled by siblings, this usually means that you have a good relationship with your siblings, because Jupiter's here and Venus. Those are both two of the most beautiful planets in the whole zodiac. So this can show that you have a really good relationship with your siblings, and it can also possibly mean that you have 2 or more siblings, because Jupiter rules abundance. So when you see someone with abundance in their house of siblings and communication, there's the possibility that you have a lot of siblings. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but I'm definitely seeing that you might have at least 2, maybe more. And you know, you do have a ton of good energy surrounding this part of your chart, a ton of good energy. And, you know, it makes good aspects to Uranus, and Uranus represents rebellion. It represents change in things. And making a good aspect to your Venus and your Jupiter here, this gives you good intuition, it gives you independence and excitement in your relationship, so that's something that you definitely need. And you need equal give and take with a partner though. So especially being a Libra represents the balance scales. If you're not getting that equal balance with a partner, or even with friends and siblings, you know, it's not going to be in your favor. You're not going to be about it. So there definitely has to be that equality when it comes to give or take with a person. Now, you also have good aspects to your Neptune here. And Neptune is the planet of spirituality. It's also the higher octave of Venus, which means it's like that deep soul love. It's the deepest form of love that we can ever experience on a soul level. And making a good aspect with your Venus and your Jupiter, this can make you more of a sensitive and gentle partner when you're with somebody that you love. And it also makes you very artistic and creative. So, you know, this is another factor coming in again, showing that you're very creative or artistic. So anything along those avenues are definitely great for you. This also makes a good aspect to your North Node in your first, or in the 7th house of marriage. And this can prove certain that you will find that special someone no matter what. So even if it seems like it's taking a little bit too long or whatnot, with a harmonious aspect to your North Node with Venus, it definitely proves that you will find that special someone, even if it takes a little longer than expected. Now, with this aspect to your North Node and Neptune, it can show that you might be interested in both men and women. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm dating a female. And, you know, I have Neptune on my sun. And like I was saying, Neptune represents the highest aspect of love. So it doesn't really see, you know, anything besides what the heart feels. So there's nothing wrong with it. If that's you, if it's not, there's nothing wrong with that either. It can just mean that you're very much craving that deep, deep, deep soul level of love. But it can show, because of this specific aspect with Neptune and the North Node, that you may be interested in both. And it just ironically shows that you also have some fated relations with women that can be very favorable for you. That's if you just, you know, take that route or whatever. I'm not trying to encourage you. I'm just telling you everything the astrology chart shows, of course. But if you did have any relations with women, they would be very fated. And it would also be very favorable for you. It shows with your status in the world, and also financially. So for some reason, this just happens to be the case in your chart. And it's a beautiful thing, in my opinion. I think it's awesome, because when you can kind of see love with no boundaries, like you just feel from your heart, that shows a lot. So if this is something you've, you know, kind of beat yourself over, I get it. I beat myself up over it my whole life. But then, you know, I'm just who I am. I love who I love, and there's nothing wrong with that, like I'm saying. Now, moving on to your 4th house, you have the sun here in your 4th house. And the 4th house rules family and home life. And, you know, in the sign of Libra. So Libra represents, you know, the balancing scales and fairness. And your sun is a representation of your soul and what your soul really, really craves on a deeper level. And, you know, Libras, like I was saying, need their equality. They need things to be fair and just. And like I was saying also, Libras are very giving people. They're very giving people, but, you know, if there's not that equal balance of give and take, this is when the scales can, you know, bounce in the non-equal way, and this is when you might not be so happy and you don't see things so fair. So they're definitely, you know, having the sun here in your 4th house of family, you know, you're very much caring about your family life and the family that you want to build one day. And you know, this shows that this is like one of the main focuses of your life, because this is you on a soul level. And it's also on the border of your 5th house though. And your 5th house is the ruler of fun. It's the child in us, and it rules creativity. So this is, you're kind of in between both houses here with this. So it's very much, your soul's very much of a family person. You're wanting to create this family of your own one day. And you're very much like a child at heart forever. And there's no better energy than that. Like, you know, Toys R Us kids, you don't want to grow up. I have this energy. I'm a Leo rising. And this is the house that is naturally belong to Leo. So, you know, this makes you lively, and it keeps you young. And if anyone complains about that, they're crazy. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably one of the best positions to have your sun in. So that's definitely awesome. Now your sun now, though, is next to Mars, okay? And Mars is the planet of action and aggression. And, you know, this shows that you're an extremely hard worker, and you're very energetic. And, you know, this can also make you very impulsive, though. So you might take too big of risks sometimes before really playing it out. And it might get you in some trouble sometimes, possibly. But overall, you know, you love adventure and taking risks and having fun. You know, one thing about having Mars on your sun is you might accidentally blurt things out sometimes before really thinking about it. And that can be, you know, something that you obviously know yourself by this point, so that just might be a trait that you have, being the fact that it rules aggression, and it also rules our passions. So this does make you a very passionate person as well, being in the house of fun. And the 5th house ruling fun, it rules fun, creativity, children, and it also rules sex. Now the 8th house, I'll get more into that, it's more so a ruler of sex, but it's like, how do you make children? Through having fun with sex. You know what I mean? So it definitely makes you a very passionate person to add to that as well. Now, there might be the possibility that your father was not around. Saturn is the rule maker. Saturn's in your 8th house, which I'll explain. But Saturn rules the father. The moon rules the mother. Saturn rules the father. And, you know, in the 8th house, this can represent possibly even the death of a father as well. And, or just the possibility that he possibly wasn't around much. The 8th house is kind of the hidden house that we have in astrology. It's where a lot of secrets are. And it's also a very mystical, spiritual house. But having your Saturn here, making a harsh aspect to your sun and your Mars, there is the possibility that he wasn't around, possibly from death, not too sure, but if that's the case too, I'm very sorry. That's extremely hard to deal with. I'm obviously giving you every aspect that I can see in a chart. Obviously, some of them won't always be played out correctly. There is the possibility too that because the 8th house rules like mysteries and hidden things, that this could have been involved with drugs. You know, possibly your father was involved with drugs, and this possibly affected you long term. And you know, I totally understand this energy. Like I was saying, my mother passed away on my 13th birthday from a drug overdose, and my father wasn't around my whole life. Yeah, you know, I was raised by my grandmother, and he is around now, but he's still doing drugs. But you know, it shows in my chart as well, some different aspects, but this is just another possibility for your chart, okay? Now, with Saturn making a hard aspect to your sun, like I was saying, in the house of family and fun for you, there's just the possibility that you could have been raised by your grandparents, and this may have been his grandparents that I'm possibly seeing. So that's just another aspect I'm seeing play out, because the 5th house does rule the child, and there kind of seems to be a lot of energy that is misplaced here. Now, your 5th house here of fun, creativity, sex, and children is ruled by Scorpio. And this house is ruled by more than one sign for you, and that's what we call an intercepted house. I actually have Scorpio intercepted in my house too, in my birth chart, so I completely understand this energy. So what this means is that we you know, possibly didn't get to experience that much of this energy as we were growing up. You know, being that it's in your 5th house of child, and being a child and having fun and such, I feel like you had to grow up a little bit quicker than you wanted to. So you kind of didn't really get to experience all that childhood fun that you may have wanted to, and maybe had to grow up a little bit quicker. And this could have possibly been from the loss of parents. I'm still not sure. But, you know, that is the case, then that would make sense, because it's kind of hard to be a child when you are growing up with absent parents. And, you know, you do have several planets here in the sign of Scorpio. And this can give you a hard time dealing with these planets anytime a house is intercepted like this. So you have Mars in Scorpio. I also have Mars in Scorpio. And, you know, this is the ruler of our desires. It's our aggression. It's also our sexual energy and our warrior spirit. And Mars naturally belongs in Scorpio. So that's where it's happiest. And, you know, Scorpio is actually the most sexual sign of the whole zodiac. So, you know, with Mars here, you can be a very sexual, passionate person. And being that it's in the house of, you know, Scorpio that's intercepted, you may have problems controlling your anger. This can be, like I was saying, when houses are intercepted, we have a harder time dealing with the energy sometimes. And Mars on its downfall can represent aggression and anger, of course, because of aggression. And so this can maybe give you some hard points when it comes to dealing with your emotions and getting frustrated. It can make you possibly angry. This is the case for myself. I have Mars in Scorpio, and you know, I still have issues with anger, but I was a little bit out of control. Let's just be honest. I got several DUIs. I could not shut my mouth. I pushed authority figures all the time. And I've been sober from drinking now 4 years, so those problems went away, but there still is that aspect of me that I still have to grow through to be able to control my emotions a little bit better. So this might be the case for you as well. Now, you also have Mercury here in your 5th house as well of Scorpio. And Mercury rules our thoughts and our communication, okay? And in Scorpio, Mercury wants to dive deep for the facts. Like I was saying, Scorpio is a very mysterious sign. It is a water sign, which is emotional, but they have that stinger for a reason, you know what I mean? So when you have your Mercury here, your thoughts and your communication, it's like you really want to dig deep and understand things on a very deep level. You know, surface level stuff just isn't your thing. This can make you very intuitive, 100%. And it kind of plays like an investigator. Like, you will find out what you need to know. Like, you might have friends that come to you like, hey, like, my boyfriend, this, and that. And then you're like quick to get on the computer and you find it out really quick. You know what I mean? Like, it's the investigator when it comes to your thoughts and emotions. And you have a strong ability to see the truth in other people. So you can read people like a book. So even if you don't know them or you just met them, you got their first impression, it's like you don't really need to get to know them more than just that first impression, because your mind is like, okay, they're like this, and that, check. Like, I don't want to be friends with them. So, you know, Scorpio is a very, you know, personal planet. It doesn't share its emotions very much. But being that this rules your Mercury, your communication, and your thoughts, this helps you understand people just like that. So it gives you a quick hint on who people really are. Now you also, like I was saying, might be blunt with your words, because this also makes, you know, Mars combined with Mercury, aggression combined with communication, can make you a little bit blunt, and this might get you in trouble sometimes. So, you know, but having Mercury in Scorpio, it's very intuitive. You know, you have quite a few planets here in Scorpio, so your intuition is very, very prominent. And you're a very powerful speaker. You're definitely a powerful speaker, especially with your Venus and Jupiter in the communication house. You're a very, very powerful speaker. So, you just have to be careful and think of what you're going to say before you say it. But you can move people tremendously with your words. So that's definitely a gift that you have. Now, you also have Pluto in Scorpio. And like I was saying, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth to things. Now, all millennials have Pluto in Scorpio. So I have Pluto in Scorpio. Any millennial will have Pluto in Scorpio. Pluto represents how we tell which, millennium people are from. Now, Scorpio naturally rules Pluto too. So it's the best place to be in Scorpio. That's why us millennials are the shit, okay? Now, Pluto, like I said, represents death and rebirth to things, and having it in your 5th house, it gives you the need to express yourself creatively. And, this placement can also show that you love to work with children, or it can be the complete opposite, like you don't want anything to do with children. But you have a lot of planets here in this house, so I'm kind of sensing that you might love to work with children, possibly, but it is a intercepted house, so that's a coin flip, honestly. But this does also make a nice aspect to your house of career, which I'll get to, and this can make you very known in the world because of this, because it touches your midheaven, which is the highest point of your chart. If you choose to work with children, you'd be extremely successful. So that's definitely a good point for you. Now that's if you like dealing with them or not. Now, moving on to your 7th house of relationships. In your 7th house of relationships is ruled by Capricorn. And you have a lot of energy here as well, okay? And like I was saying, your North Node is here, and that's a representation of your goals in this lifetime. And, needing to find a partner. Now, the tougher part about this energy is that you have the planet Uranus here in your 7th house, okay? And like I was saying, Uranus is kind of like that rebel. It wants to change things up constantly. And you also have Neptune here in your 7th house, which, like I was saying, is that need for a soul level of love, very, very deep love connection. And it can also, this might make you a little bit like blinded by people sometimes. Like maybe you have this impression of them and you put them on this pedestal of who you think that they are, but then they don't really turn out to be that person, and you can often find yourself just getting, turned off because you had such high expectations for them, but they weren't the person that you really had played out in your mind. Now, you crave a partner that is not boring, because Uranus likes change. It's the rebel. And also someone, that's what you crave as well, is you kind of crave a rebellious type of person, bad boy or what's so to say, And you also, because Neptune, like I was saying, is that higher octave of love, this also makes you create a sort of, need for like a fairy tale love, and like the perfect partner that you can connect with on a soul level. And they do exist. Like a lot of times we think that, we can't find a rebel that's that perfect partner at the same time, and I can connect with spiritually or on a soul level. But my girlfriend has this same aspect in her birth chart, and I am that person. Okay, for her, I'm that person. Like, before I drink and all that stuff, I'm still a rebel no matter what. I always will be. But I'm also very spiritual, and that's why I do astrology and such. And those people do exist, so don't think that they're not out there. But it's like that's what you crave, is you crave someone that's not just kind of boring and just mundane. You want someone that's exciting and a little bit rebellious, like I was saying, the bad boy. And definitely someone that you can connect with, though, on a deep soul level. So they do exist. I'm definitely going to let you know that much. Now, you also have the dark moon Lilith here, okay? And everyone has it somewhere else in their chart. But the dark moon Lilith, for instance, Lilith was portrayed in the Bible as the first woman that was gifted to Adam. And Lilith was kind of like, what? Like, I just have to serve this man? Like, psh, I'm out. I'm not doing this shit. You know what I mean? And so then came Eve. You know, Eve was made for Adam because Eve became the one to serve Adam. And I speak like this because I have Lilith on my rising sign. So this is a lot like who I am as a person. I'm not one to conform for anybody, if that makes sense. And, you know, having it here in your house of love, it can make you a little bit picky with partners, especially with the Neptune and Uranus there too. And like I was saying, you crave a rebellious fairy tale type of person, but you often pay more attention to their faults than their good aspects. So this is what Lilith can bring out. So they might have all these great things about them, but you tend to stay focused on the few things that are just not so good about them. And so that can be hard to deal with because it's like we're constantly searching for that perfect partner, and it's like the capacity for you to feel that that person is perfect is just endless. Like it just doesn't exist in your mind in a sense. Now, you know, so with you, this, you know, you just need to understand that no one is completely perfect, obviously, and you need to focus a little bit more on the person's positive traits. If you feel that they're fit for you, you know, weigh out the pros and the cons. If there's way more pros and you've got a couple cons there, everybody's not, you know, like I said, no one's perfect. But if their pros outweigh their cons by a significant amount, you need to give it a little bit more time. Give them a try. Don't try to write it off so quick. That's what we can do when Lilith is here. So just, you know, give them a little bit of more of a shot. Don't be so quick to dismiss the person and say next. You know what I mean? But I definitely understand this energy. Like I was saying, our charts have quite a few similarities as well. Now, you also have Juno in your house of love, okay? And Juno represents our highest version of what we want in a partner. It's our highest, like out of 1 million people, we'd pick that person. And Juno being in your house of love and marriage, it definitely gives you very high standards in love. So it's like, girl, you have extremely high standards. I'm just going to be straight up with you. With Uranus, Neptune, with Juno, Dark Moon Lilith, I can see why it's hard because your North Node is here. It's like directing you to want to find a partner, but it's like it's kind of hard to fill that gap in because you do have high expectations, and I don't think you should lower your expectations at all. That's who you are, you know what I mean? But it just makes it a little bit more difficult to find that person. But like I was saying, that person exists. You will find whoever it is. But, you know, with Juno here, it just gives you higher standards in love, and you need someone that truly values you and understands you, and someone that is also very committed to being in a relationship, because Juno here wants someone that is about marriage and partnership. So you need that same type of energy reciprocated for you. Now, some good partners for you, or first, let me get to, you know, this can also represent with Juno that your mother was a very important role in your life. And, you know, she was possibly an extremely loving person, possibly is an extremely loving person that you look up to highly. And, you know, she's someone that you know, that you were shown love to on such a high level that is the type of person that, you know, you crave in another person. Not specifically your mother, but, you know, the fact that she was able to show you such high standards in love that is what you expect back. And for you, good partners for you, number one would be Capricorn. You have a lot, that's your 7th house of love where you have all your energy. So if you had a person with their sun in Capricorn, it would work out very, very well because they understand this energy because it's all in Capricorn for you. The second one I'd say is an Aquarius would also be good for you. And that's because your moon sign is an Aquarius. And like I was saying, Aquarius is not that emotional. And if you had a person that was a sun sign in Aquarius, they would get that energy. They would completely understand you on that level and wouldn't just think that you're, like I was saying, cold, but people say that, but us, we're not cold, okay? Like I was saying, my Venus is here, so I understand this 100%. So you need someone that Aquarius would get you on that level as well. Now, the third partner I'd say for you would be a Virgo, and that's because this is your house of communication where your Venus sign is. So, you know, having your Venus in Virgo is very much about like a person that it's not expecting you to be so over extravagant in love, but it's, you know, like a person that does the little things for you. It can even just be like, oh, I cleaned your car for you. You know, just basic normal daily tasks, but those add up to a partner that makes fit for you. Someone that can kind of keep up with you and your routines and help you along the way. There is a support system. So the third one I would say is definitely Virgo, and you have your Jupiter there. So Venus and Jupiter there with their sun sign would make this a very harmonious relationship as well. And then the last one I would say would be a Scorpio. And in that exact order too, 1, 2, 3, 4, Capricorn, Aquarius, Virgo, then Scorpio. And Scorpio, because you have so many planets in Scorpio and you're very passionate, your Mars, that sex drive in Scorpio, if you found another Scorpio, they'd meet you exactly where you want them to, and you guys would just understand each other on that same level. There wouldn't have to be much explaining with any of these signs. So Capricorn, Aquarius, Virgo, then Scorpio. So those are going to be your 4. So you've got some options there. Some people only get it like 1 or 2, but I definitely see those 4 would be the best for you in that order. Now, moving on to your 8th house, okay? So your 8th house rules, you know, sex on a deeper hidden level, but it also rules the mysteries of life. It rules merging finances with another person. It even represents, like, since I was saying mysteries of life, it rules astrology too. And see, my North Node is in the 8th house of astrology. That's why I'm going in this direction, but I understand this house very well. And you do have the planet Saturn here. And like I was saying, Saturn rules the father, and it can very much act like a father in astrology. And, you know, Saturn, like I say to people, Saturn's like the school teacher. So it, you know, gives you a bunch of homework and all these tests and gives you no breathing room. It's not the nicest teacher. But at the end of the day, if you do the work, you get the good grade. So Saturn, you know, it gives us lessons, but, and, you know, they do pay off. They pay off. It gives us lessons, but you do have to do the work to get through it. And, you know, Saturn, because of this, also rules restrictions. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing by the teacher, your grade's not going to be the best. So that's where it can kind of restrict you in a sense. So because of this, being in your house of like deeper intimacy, it can create some issues with intimacy to where it can make it, you know, possibly a little awkward for you. It can be hard for you to kind of let your guard down in a sense and be vulnerable with another person. And you are going to be going through your Saturn return in a couple months, okay? And that's what I really want to touch on right now too. And this, when you have your Saturn return, you have the ability to completely transform this area of your life. And you can change it for the better 100%, or it can just be a difficult test like the teacher puts you through. It's difficult no matter what, but you're either going to get the good grade or you're not. So paying attention to this energy is extremely important because we only have our Saturn return every 30 years. So it takes 30 years for Saturn to go back to the same spot it was in your birth chart when you were born. Okay, and that's why everybody's having such a hard time right now in the world, is because Saturn has gone retrograde. I'm not going to try to explain too much depth because I know it's a lot, but we've had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all together in Capricorn, okay? And Capricorn can rule governments and public image. And this whole year has been a shit show, okay? And really it's, you know, the crazy energy we've been dealing with in Capricorn has been going on for about 2.5 years now. And everyone felt this on a different level of their chart. And for you, it has been in your 7th house of relationships, okay? So the past about 2.5 years, it's felt like, you know, it's ran over your North Node, it's gone over your Neptune, your dark moon Lilith, your Uranus planet. So it has had a beat down on you for quite a while, and it's not been easy. And I'm a Capricorn. I have my, you know, my Mercury and my Neptune here. So I felt completely defeated for a while here, okay? But just in a different house. So for you, it's been around relationships, and it's gone through with Pluto. Like I said, death and rebirth is Pluto. Saturn is the teacher. So it's been kind of beating all these areas for you of finding that perfect partner. And, you know, it's definitely probably created a lot of understanding for you and changed your views in some senses with, you know, what you need to kind of change up in a way, like what's no longer doing you any good, doing the same thing possibly. So it's definitely not easy when it goes over your, you know, your house of love. And being that your North Node is here too, you know, that's where you're trying to get to this life, is to find that partner. So it can almost feel like the past 2.5 years can have felt like I'm never going to find anyone. And that can very much be what you have been feeling, 100%. And, you know, there might have been trials with the relationships, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to find the person. I'm just never going to find this person. And like I said, that's not the truth, okay? But it's definitely been hard. And, you know, you had a lot of opposing energy in your 1st house of yourself, so it definitely had you a bit upside down for a while. And this energy's still here. It's still here until December 16th. It's not as hard as it was for you about 2 years ago or so. 1.5 to 2 years ago. That's when it was really hitting your planet specifically. But you are coming into your Saturn return, okay? So Saturn's moving forward now, and it will be going into your 8th house, like I said, and that's of intimacy and a deeper level, merging finances with others. It's a very spiritual house, very mystical house. And like I said, it can create issues with intimacy and being vulnerable. So having your Saturn here in this house, you know, it's the next year for you is not going to be the easiest year, just to be plain and honest with you. It's definitely going to put you to the test, like that school teacher does, around this area of your life. It's going to want to crack you open to be more vulnerable. And you're definitely already feeling this energy, because it's only about 6 degrees away from hitting your Saturn exactly. So luckily, you'll be hitting it a little bit earlier. You know, come January, you're definitely going to feel this very, very intensified. And it's going to bring, you know, quite the challenge up for you. It's definitely going to change the way that you view things when it comes to relationships and your deeper intimate connections. And it's going to try to crack you open. And, you know, Saturn, like I said, it's that teacher. You don't want to do the homework, but you want the good grade. You know what I mean? And like for me personally, I had my Saturn return in my 5th house of fun. And, you know, and all I did was have fun for my whole life. That's all I did was party and have fun. So my Saturn return came and smacked me and was like, you need to get sober. And I didn't even know I was going through my Saturn return at the time, but I knew I felt like I was losing my mind. And I'm glad that I did become sober, because, you know, my life has changed forever. I mean, in so many tremendous ways I can't even begin to tell you. That's not the case for you. I'm not saying, you know, you need to go be sober. This is just what my Saturn return brought me. And, you know, that hard work did pay off for me, because I wouldn't be where I am now with what I'm doing with astrology. I mean, just everything. My life was a wreck. I got 3 DUIs, 2 in 1 year. I mean, I was arrested probably 6 times just for being drunk and stupid. So I had to change my fun up, you know what I mean? I couldn't have fun in the same type of way anymore. So this is going to bring up, you know, definitely issues surrounding your intimacy. And this can also bring back up maybe any issues concerning your father. So I'm not sure what that situation has with you, but you know, there can be some conversations possibly with your father if he's around that can change for the better. It's definitely not going to be easy, but it can change your outlook, and it can change your perception and heal any past wounds that may have come about from your father. So that's definitely also a possibility. But you will be feeling this energy for a good year, okay? It doesn't, you know, Saturn moves really slow. So it's been in Capricorn now for 2.5 years. So it will be in your house, your 8th house, for 2.5 years. But it's only going to be really affecting your Saturn for about a year, okay? So it's good to be prepared so you don't have to go into it like completely not understanding what's going on and feeling crazy like I felt. Just know that you already dealt with what I think is the harshest energy, which was all of this relationship stuff that you just dealt with for the past like 2.5 years. And now it is moving more onto an intimate level. So, you know, this is just going to really want you to, you know, this is going to heal wounds though too, because it's opposing your house that you have Chiron in, which brought you maybe some insecurities growing up, possibly for the reasons I talked about. So this is going to resurface some of those issues. But like I said, you do the homework, you get the good grade. So if you kind of listen to your intuition, because you do have very good intuition looking at your birth chart here, and do what you feel you need to do, open up, be more vulnerable, you know, have those conversations that you might be a little bit more shy to have. Because you're a great communicator, girl. You've got Jupiter and Venus there, and they're here to support you and make sure that you find that perfect partner. And like I said, that doesn't happen. Your North Node doesn't fully kick in until after your Saturn return. So you're going to find somebody for you that is going to be on such a high level that you never even thought it was possible. Like, just to be straight up, there's going to be someone that comes into your life when you do this work, okay? And you're going to be shocked. You're going to be completely shocked because you didn't think it could happen. You've never met this type of a person before. But that's going to be your good grade, okay? That's going to be the good grade that you get. And this might also touch upon some issues, maybe dealing with, you know, maybe partying or such, because the 8th house, plain and simple, it does rule drugs. And the 12th house does as well, more so than the 8th house. But this can also be a level to where you might have to, you know, if you're doing anything recreationally, I'm not sure, but it might bring up some of those issues to try to heal that aspect of yourself. It's going to have you pump the brakes a little bit and slow down. So, you know, Saturn, it's not the nicest planet, but when it does come through, it definitely brings good change after all of the homework. So that's the hard part about it. But I'm definitely glad you're getting this reading now, because you've definitely been dealing with some hard energy, girl. You really have. And another thing too is it will be affecting, in a sense, the way that you communicate and maybe how harshly you communicate sometimes. So you're going to get a little test in that area, which can bring much healing for it though. So this might change the way that you express yourself completely. And in return, this is going to open up your house of fun and creativity. It's going to make you much more available to access this energy. And it's also going to help make you more vulnerable. And I know it's so hard to be vulnerable because you have your moon in Aquarius. And like I said, it's not that vulnerable of a sign. It's not that emotional. Like I was saying, my Venus is there. And when it comes to mushy gushy romantic stuff, I just like start laughing. It's like, you know, it's like the person that like laughs at a funeral type of energy. That's like Aquarius placements. When people have strong Aquarius placements, it's considered the alien in a sense. And you know, it's a little bit of an oddball, but it is a creative genius. And you know, it's not the easiest to express our emotions, but this is really going to want you to express yourself more. And by doing that, you're going to open up so many doors. You're going to open up relationship doors. You're going to open up more fun and more sex and creativity into your life. And so this will be the ultimate test for you, 100%. And like I said, it's not the easiest, but you do have all that good Venus energy with Jupiter that helps support you in this. So you definitely have things on your side, but it's not easy. It's really, really not easy when we have our Saturn return. So just expect, you're already feeling this energy, I'm sure, but all of the relationship stuff will kind of simmer down after December. It's already simmered down from what it was about 1.5 to 2 years ago, but it will be moving into that 8th house for you. And I'm also going to send you a little birth chart thing that explains what each house represents. So if you want to follow along with that while I do the reading for you, you can kind of understand a little bit better of what each meaning of the houses are. But, there's going to be so much healing for you with this, 100%. And it's just going to catapult you forward. And, because you also have your part of fortune on the 9th, in the 9th house on your midheaven. If you make good changes, the changes that are needed, they're not easy, but if you make these good changes, part of fortune on the midheaven can represent fame. Literally can represent fame in a person. So if you can break down these boundaries and these hard aspects of yourself, I don't know exactly what you have in mind for doing for a career, but another thing I see, because like I said, children can be one of them, and teaching, 100%. Teaching I see again and again and again in your chart. Teaching would be amazing for you if you decided to take that route. But I do see fame with yourself, because, the next house over here, and also with creative pursuits. So if you're artistic in any way, girl, use it, because you have the ability to become famous in this area, 100%. Not many people have their part of fortune on their midheaven. The midheaven is how others perceive us and our public image to the world. Also our career. So, having your part of fortune here brings very much good luck. And then your 10th house of career is ruled by Aries. And Aries is all about, how we look, how others perceive us. So I can see something like being an actress, maybe being any type of a model could be very beneficial for you as well. And you'd be very good at that too, because you've got, your moon is in Aquarius. It's that creative genius, and it can almost fake emotions, okay? Like it's not so emotional, but if it needs to be, it can fake it. And that's not bad, because Aquarius just don't feel as much. They're more on an intellectual level. So if you did decide to do anything with acting or anything like that, you'd be extremely successful as well. So I definitely see those as being areas that are super fitting for you. All right, so I want to do a little card reading for you so we can get the gist of what's going on and maybe some energy that can help you out here. And this first deck here, it's my astrology deck. So it's got all the different planets and houses and symbols and meanings. And I'm going to ask a few questions. I've also got my crystal deck, so that will show you maybe any gemstones that are really good luck for you. Like this bad boy here, selenite. This is a good protector stone. I actually wrap gemstones, so there's, I wear them around my neck. There's tons of different ways. I even sleep with some under my pillow sometimes. And it is the Earth's energy. Okay, and they look so beautiful for reasons, and they do in fact bring energy that you need. Okay, so we're going to see what crystal you need, and then I'm going to ask your guides, what type of energy they want to provide you with for my Earth Warrior deck. Okay, so I want to ask here, what does Olivia need to do now that her Saturn return is coming up to help make her more vulnerable so she can attract love into her life and help put down her walls a little bit? All right, so the 10th house. So this represents your career. It's also your status in this world, okay? Let's see what else we get from this one. Cancer. Alrighty. So this is already showing me, okay? So this is saying that you need to put yourself out there with your rising sign, you know? Your rising sign is Cancer, and as you can see, it's very motherly. It's ruled by the moon, and the moon moves the tides of the ocean. So we've got the ocean there. And it's wanting you to open up and show a little bit more vulnerability, like I was saying, to the world. So the whole public, you know, everybody can perceive you in that sense of who you are. Because you do have that in you. It's just, it's hard to bring out, like I was saying. But, you know, other people do get to see that meet you and such. And, you know, this is showing that, you know, I even see this too as like I was saying with acting, like the 10th house of career. This is ruled by the emotions, Cancer. So it's like putting yourself out there and possibly, you know, not acting in life, but hey, maybe fake it till you make it, you know what I mean? But I can kind of see that too as, you know, if you did pursue any type of career when it comes to anything within acting or whatnot, that might open huge doors for you and kind of help make you more vulnerable. And let's see what else I get here. Look at that. 7th house of marriage. So if you are able to be that person, that Cancer rising, that other people perceive you as when they get to know you, because you have it in you. You know, that's definitely a part of your personality. You're definitely a very loving person at the same time. And, you know, this is going to push you towards your 7th house of North Node, where all your planets are involving marriage. So I think just using your heart a little bit more and trying to express yourself and your emotions, because Cancer does rule the emotions. Once you're able to express your emotions out there a lot more, how he's on top of a damn rock screaming to the world, you know, then it's going to come right to you. Like, look at that. You can't even make this up. Literally asked a question about relationships and you pulled the 7th house of marriage. So you just need to be a little bit more vulnerable. Be a little bit more vulnerable. It's not going to be easy, but I guarantee you Saturn will make you be more vulnerable. It's like you don't even have a choice. Like you're in that class with that teacher anyway. You kind of have to do the work. So you're going to see different aspects of yourself come out that you didn't even realize you had. Like during my Saturn return, for instance, I'm not a big crier. My girlfriend didn't even see me cry. We've been together for 3 years. She didn't see me cry up until like a year and a half into dating. And that's when I was going through my Saturn return. I was crying every freaking day. Like if you look at some of the first posts that I have on my page, I just talked about how I just finished crying. And it's just really weird for me because I'm not, you know, that type of person in a sense, but it definitely cracked me open more than I can even explain. And it really, really, really helped me understand my emotions a lot better. And it just helped me so much for the better. And especially because I seem, you know, I've been told so many times, oh, you seem cold or you're not emotional. It's like, yeah, I have my Venus in freaking Aquarius. We don't come off that emotional. And Venus also rules other people. It's our love sign, but it's other people. So other people always perceive me as cold, you know? And I've got my sun in Capricorn. So Capricorn also is ruled by Saturn. So Capricorn's very much about getting things done. So my combination of planets isn't the easiest either. I've been told my whole life that I seem cold. It's like, no, I'm not. Okay. So when you go through your Saturn return, you definitely get a wake up call there, and you're going to experience some emotions you maybe didn't even know that you had, okay? Now, this one is for my crystal deck here. So like I was saying, all the gemstones. And not sure if you have any, but you can always go to any of the gem shop stores. And what I like to do is pick ones that I'm just called to. I just pick whatever I feel is calling for me, whatever I think's pretty. I mean, every time I go in there, I'm attracted to a different type of stone, and then I come home and look up the meaning of that stone, and it just so happens to be exactly what I need at that point in my life. So it's kind of cool how it works. But let's ask here, what gemstone does Olivia need to help get her through this energy of her Saturn return coming up? She's been dealing with a lot of tough energy the past couple years, and what stone would be a good stone for her? Wow. The one I just showed you I'm wearing. Malachite. This is one of my favorite stones. It's a heart opener. It's a huge heart opening chakra, or opens the heart chakra. Let's read it for you. So it's called malachite. M-A-L-A-C-H-I-T-E. And it's really cool. They all have different forms and colors. Like this one I have, if you can see it. It's got like some interesting, I don't know if you can see it that well. I'm actually going to post, I have 2 of them that I'm selling actually right now that I'm going to post up, and you can look at them and see how different they are with their colors and everything. It's pretty cool. So for malachite here, so malachite rules the subconscious mind. Malachite brings to light ingrained programming and toxic beliefs. An amulet against pain. This is a powerful stone for emotional transformation. It stimulates the survival instinct. Can't make this up. Self-understanding. Unconscious programs or beliefs cause psychosomatic dis-ease. Go willingly into the depths. Therapy may be needed. Your deepest fears become your greatest gifts as hidden abilities come to light. Go where angels fear to tread to bring back insights for your own healing and that of others. The divination of this card. Explore your depths. Danger threatens. Not all is as it seems. Stand firm in your power. Have no fear. You survive. Protect yourself against unseen forces or powerful minds that manipulate you. Learn psychic protection. Take a course to call up past life skills. Spread your wings. Do not become embroiled with a charismatic man. Healing insight. Detoxifying your mind, body, and emotions and recognizing deep psychosomatic causes of dis-ease are a path to well-being. Wow. And this is ruled by Scorpio. Like I was saying, it opens up the heart chakra. Also opens up the base chakra, which is about sex, the sacral, also pertaining to sex and our comfort in this life, and then our solar plexus is our stomach, it's our power center. So I don't even think I could have pulled a more perfect stone. And how ironic, I was just showing you my malachite. Wow. So malachite is definitely a good one for you. Get one of these stones, girl. All right. Let's see here what we get for your Earth Warrior cards. So this one's a pretty long read, so I will read the first beginning of it. But I'll send you what the rest of the card says, because it has like a prayer that you can do that can help you definitely. And this deck I love. It is a message from your own guides that are trying to help you out during this time, and they come through to deliver a message. So let's see what that is. What message do you have for Olivia to help her through some hardships that she's been going through and moving through her Saturn return? All right. Spirit of the warrior. Girl, you're a warrior. So the spirit of the warrior, it's called Alakoa. Look how pretty that card is though. Alright, let's see what it means. Alright. So Alakoa, the spirit of the warrior. Though you yearn for peace, you recognize that without truth, genuine peace can never be. Even if it triggers an uphill of transformation, the need to set things right is strong within you. This is the inner drive of the spiritual warrior, the compelling soul need to uphold truth, goodness, and justice. You will fight for these things because that is your way, spirit warrior. Trust, see, and feel the positive impact that you are making in the world. You are relentless and the divine is within you. And what did I say about Libras? They're all about justice. It's the Libra scale. If you notice, like every law firm has a scale. That's Libra. It's all about fairness. I'm going to read this next paragraph for you too. It says, in a reading, do not give up. If you feel hopeless, despair, defeat, or frustration, and you wonder if it's really worth it, place your mind in your heart and your heart in awareness of what it is that is inspiring you. Do you feel alone on your quest? Look for legions of beings in spirit and upon the earth that fight alongside you, fearless and ferocious with love. Be uplifted by your fellow spirit warriors, beloved one. Feel the joy of their love and unity with you. You have access to the divine power that conquers any obstacle, wins every battle, and secures every victory. Girl, told you. I told you, you've got that strength. You've got that strength, and you know, you've just been going through the craziest energy. You're not going to go through this crazy of energy again until you're 60, okay? But the second time around, Saturn's not as harsh. So that's why like the 27 Club is so popular. If you've heard of the 27 Club, it's, you know, a lot of celebrities end up passing away by the age of 27. And that's because Saturn starts its journey around the age of 27 for us. So for a lot of people, it could become too much and they feel like they're going crazy. And a lot of celebrities, because they have the money to spend on, you know, substances and whatnot, they can overdo it for themselves. And, you know, this is very, very common. We've seen so many good celebrities die at the age of 27. That's why it's called the 27 Club. But you've already migrated through the toughest of the energy, okay? You've already been through the hardest parts. This next year, like I said, is going to be difficult, but now you have a little bit of the tools to kind of help get you through, okay? And, you know, if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out for me. I'm always, always here. And I'm going to send you the full meaning on this card. I'll wait till after you're done with your reading so I don't spoil that. But please, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm here for you always.